Okay, so here's what's going on with the catch can system and setup and everything else that you're asking about. So with the catch can, the purpose behind the catch can is as the engine runs, it builds up positive pressure. This comes from blow by down through the rings. It happens with every engine. It doesn't matter how well it's built. Okay, and the engine heats up, and so up here in the head and up in this area, you're going to get positive pressure. You're going to get air. So that's going to consist of combustion gases and all kinds of stuff that have gone down through the rings and make their way into the oiling system. So that ends up rising up to the head. So what they do is they have the PCV valve here, they have a breather here. These things are connected to vacuum so that as you're running under vacuum in a non-turbo engine, as you're running under vacuum, it's constantly pulling the air out of the head and keeping positive crankcase ventilation, PCV, and it's burning that stuff off. That's why intakes get all this crud inside of them, because it's pulling the oil and stuff. The purpose of the PCV valve with the ball inside is to catch a lot of that oil and have it drip back in to the head, okay, into the valve cover. So that's what it is. When you have a turbo system, sometimes the system operates under vacuum, the turbo is not spooled up, and other times it's running under boost. If it's running under boost, what you have is you have positive air pressure coming into the intake, and then so this vacuum line that's hooked up here, that positive pressure will actually push air into the crankcase. And so now your crankcase has a positive amount of pressure in it. So you're not drawing any air out, you're actually keeping that crud inside of here. So in a turbo system, what happens is under vacuum, you've got some of it going into the intake through the head, but then you have this other line that's hooked in down into your intake tube prior to the turbo. So your intake tube under pressure, this side on the cold part before the turbo is always under vacuum because air is always being sucked in, so you've got a negative pressure coming in through a port. Right, so under pressure what happens is the vacuum side is closed off and your positive side, where you're getting your positive pressure, that's hooked into a line down before your turbo. So when you've got a catch can situation, what's happening here is what's recommended you get two catch cans. One catch can is hooked into vacuum, the other catch can is hooked into pressure. And the way this thing works is you've got a line in and a line out. So you come in through vacuum, right? Under vacuum, this particular one. You come under the vacuum, it's coming in through vacuum into the line that goes into the inside of the catch can. The catch can itself has got material in it so that as the air is flowing through it, any particulates, oil, mist, stuff like that gets caught on the steel mesh, the fibers, whatever else is in there. And then your vacuum source is your intake. Right, so your catch can exists between your source from the head and your intake. Now under pressure, you're doing the exact same thing, right? So under pressure, there's a check valve in here that we put in line so that the air won't flow. As soon as pressure starts building in the head and it starts to push the air back through the system, that check valve closes off. So now this is a no-flow catch can. And that's where this one, which is always on, takes over. The vacuum is greater than the pressure that's pulled in here. And so this, you can see the lines very easily here. You've got a line coming in from your valve cover that goes into the inside of the catch can, and then it goes through the media, and then that line, that air is being drawn by the negative pressure of all of your intake air flowing through into the turbo. So you've got a negative pressure coming here that's sucking air, and it sucks it from here. So you get minimal positive crankcase ventilation under boost, but you get the most under vacuum. But that's why there's two catch can systems, and that's why it's designed to run this way, as opposed to having one catch can that's got 3 ports on it or some other setup, or right. So that's why it's recommended that you run two so they can run independently, one under vacuum, one under boost.